Many ask, when would I find my purpose in life? However, nobody stops to realize how dreadful that expression can be on their status of where they truly stand. Um, for example, I was one of those people before. People constantly be dreading waking up to school early mornings, talking to people because they're too tired, um, you know, lashing out at people something they didn't even do. And that is something that needs to be controlled because you are constantly murdering your experiences in the present moment. And that is something that I've learned to control over the past years. And life is what's meant to be filled with fun experiences. You cannot be constantly going on about your day, dreading every moment and second of it, and basically calling it a day, because right there and then you're already throwing your whole life away. You're not doing anything about it, you're not changing anything, you're not changing your routine or your friends nor your environment. You're not doing anything in your power. And in those recent years, I've realized that with the knowledge of spiritual intelligence, it just comes a long way. You learn how to manage your anger, you learn how to live freely, learn to express without feeling weak. And it honestly does take you a long way, and I feel like it has drastically changed myself and those around me how to live their life. More genuine. So yes, we could start when we were little. Perhaps a lot of us, we were taught that, get over it, suck it up, don't cry, crying's for girls, stuff like that. But we were just taught that, right? At a very young age, being very vulnerable. However, no one really taught us the most essential key to life, which is healing. Healing does take a lot of time, as long as you know how to properly do it. I believe that healing is one of the most main component to really dealing with life on its own. And it's something that is rarely even talked about. Not a lot of people really become open to it, because it's just not something that they weren't really, used to hearing around. And it's really surprising to hear that, because it is something that has really brought me a long way in my journey into being very open-minded and very accessible to life on itself. So yes, writer Varma, in her article, What is Spiritual Intelligence? She says that once you start healing, you start to unravel this spiritual strength, where it is finding who you are and what you are in this world. And with that, you're already on the path to become better. Not better than anyone else, because you cannot let your ego come to you, but basically better for your own mind and soul. What that means is that, you are not, now you're changing the perspective of once being super dreadful and annoyed and mad at the world to a now, much more critical, and you start to analyze your movement, your emotions, and you're really diving in to that pinpoint of those feelings, and then kind of, really fixating on that problem so that you won't lash onto the world. And that is the beauty of healing. You start to fix your own problems, whether it is physically or mentally, because healing is very broad, And once you start to feel that, now you are kind of getting a sense of purpose. It is your first step of finding purpose in your life. So before even jumping into the spiritual intelligence, you have to first heal inside, because that is, where emotions come from. And you cannot move forward and pretend to live this happy life, because then you're basically now putting your ego first before yourself. And that is not what we will be doing. So yes, she does claim that spiritual strength is not just about being wise, but it is also about learning how to manage your own self and prioritizing yourself while helping others, those around you. So yes, and that is something that I do believe that I lacked before, and healing does help a lot, because it not only gives you a purpose, but the purpose in finding who you are as a person, what are your goals, and it kind of bridges to redefine, your happiness, and that who are you trying to be in the future, so that you won't repeat the steps that you used to do in your past. So yes, a study at Western Reserve University has examined that the trend of journaling and meditating, yoga, manifestation, it has really increased the health of those physically and mentally disorders. It has increased in really giving people a sense of a richer lifestyle, because now they're having a routine that enforces them to basically follow up for their own sake of happiness and health. With that being said, people start to, once you start journaling, you will realize that, you're really diving into your emotions other than pushing them back and suppressing them. And you don't want that, because right now, if you start to do that, you are now creating this hole of darkness inside of you that ultimately becomes rage to others. So you really want to understand your emotions, and that is the importance of journaling. Even manifesting does come a long way, because now you're pulling without selfishly using techniques, but manifesting is only for your higher self and your higher good. And with higher self, again, it does link up to healing yourself. So once you heal, you unlock your higher self, and when you unlock your higher self, you start to pull on to all the good stuff in life. And with that being said, this is what happens. Basically, this is an example of how people should be feeling once you start to follow the examples of manifesting a richer lifestyle. So yes, my mother is spiritual, and in her teachings, she has taught me that, once these practices become a routine, it steps into a spiritual journey of, finding wiser knowledge. You start to realize, you start to redefine, who you are. Maybe what you wanted to be was just what society wanted you to be. So now you're rethinking your life choices, your jobs, your friends, even, you start to distance from people. And she has mentioned that is one step of pushing back your past and starting freshly clean. And that is also another step closer to living a raw and joyful life. You get to feel your emotions, you get to express without being called these certain labels of names that society has really molded you into be. So now you're breaking barriers. And yes, I do believe that in many cases, healing and learning the value of prioritizing your health has really impacted me as a person and my values. I used to be mad at the world until I realized that would never fix the person I am, nor the people around me, nor my goals or jobs. But instead, I learned how to live life truly with purpose. I've made great friends along the way, and my life has just begun. And I feel like the beauty of spiritual intelligence is so broad that, anything that is pure and genuine and free just links up to it to make you feel like a better person.